Happy holidays. I'm going to bring you an amazing story. It's my hero story of the year. And it's the story of Monica and Jim being faced with the diagnosis of Huntington's chorea, which means, Jim will lose complete control over his nervous system and has involuntary movements, and it will affect him completely mentally to the point where he doesn't recognize himself, and eventually death. And that can happen in actually a very short time period. I believe, like statistically, maybe 3 to 5 years, and maybe a little bit more. Maybe people can push it. Here we are in the 10th year, through Monica's love and tenacity. Jim is doing amazing, and this is some footage where you can see what she's doing with him every day. Everyday exercise, every day the right type of vitamins that we have worked out through the years together. And I've supervised this case for a decade, and we have done chelation therapy, intravenous glutathione with the help of the doctor in the office, and it's been an amazing journey. And enjoy. She is my hero because this is a lot of work every day for both of them, but through their love, they are making it. And so I'm in the great hope that there's a cure for Huntington's. People are working on it. There's early reports that monkeys are being healed from Huntington's. And so I absolutely bless Jim that it's in time for him to still be cured. Enjoy the story.
We've been married 29 years, right?
Yes.
Yeah. Since high school, after high school sweethearts.
High school sweethearts. We met in high school, and then we got married.
And I was on like old people, high school sweethearts. I go, high school sweethearts. That was good. Yeah, it's a long time. I don't know if you know how DNA is. It's how it works.
It's called CAG repeat. It's not supposed to happen so many times, but if it happens more than a certain number of times, then those things, the pattern's too high, then they say you have Huntington's.
Yeah, so it's.
I forget what they said. We have.
40,
as you can count,
yeah.
But yeah.
I first noticed symptoms, I think, right around 2000, and he was, and they weren't major, just little things that you're like, okay, that doesn't seem right. And then he was tested in 2003. And usually, I believe people that have Huntington's after they've been diagnosed, within 5 years, they're bedridden, they pass away within 15 years, but that's because they're in bed, they don't move, and they usually die of pneumonia because they choke on their food, and then an infection ensues. And
my uncle had it, but he had high blood sugars, so that totally messed him up.
Yeah.
My mom lasted until 64.
First reaction was like, crying a little bit. And then because I had results with Feline, I had my own unbelievable issues. So we had already treated some things with me, and I knew that Western medicine had a totally different view of things, and that they said certain things were impossible. And when I came to Feline, she said, "Look, give me a certain amount of time." We monitored things with blood tests and ultrasounds, and just was really conservative. So my first thing was okay, we're going to Feline, let's see what's going on. She put us on a detox regimen, and I can honestly tell you that after the detox, there was about an 80% difference in improvement. And he wasn't falling over anymore, he wasn't tripping, he wasn't doing any of those things at all. So then what we started to do, I recalled from his mother, from his uncle, and from his grandmother, that they had an urge to walk, and that they would get lost and they would be locked in and they would be tied down to a bed, which was like, ridiculous to me. So after the detox, after we got that, because the detox was intense and it took a lot of energy out of him, we put him on a treadmill, and so he'd fall off the treadmill and he couldn't walk on it, and I'd cry and get him back on it, and then pretty soon he was walking on it, and then I was like, okay, let's run, because now he's falling off again and he's doing all this extra stuff. And so then we just kept working and constantly challenging him to where he was uncomfortable. And I think oftentimes the person who works with that person with the right attitude, how much you can get, and so they don't think they can, and you're just working on pushing it. And we just keep always increasing it and always keeping it difficult, but not unattainable.
An acute disturbance of the central nervous system.
Do you remember how I was on ESPN last year and they talked about Huntington's disease and everything? She actually started showing signs while I was being born, but my mom was adopted, so they weren't aware that this genetic disease was in her family. When I was 5 years old, they finally figured out that it was Huntington's disease. Unfortunately, we were hoping it was going to be something less serious.
So part of the thing that I do is I'm going to stand up so it's really straight, because it helps. With Huntington's, and I think it's the same with Parkinson's, we tend to lean on one side, and then if things are off, so he goes here, this feels weird, so then he compensates by being here. Sometimes this goes off, so now he's here, so now this seems normal to him. So the ball helps us kind of give him feedback on where he is all the time. So if his hips tend to go to the side, it gives him instant feedback of where he is. So if he uses a ball when he's sitting at his desk, it helps. But then he gets too used to it, and he'll use his forearm, and then he's all out of whack on there, and then it's okay. So he doesn't feel this. So he starts to go here. And
if I see myself in the mirror, I can correct it, but yeah, I don't feel it otherwise.
So
when you do it in the mirror, then you can correct yourself?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
So that's good to know. Okay.
So after a while, if you go in here, your body does whatever it does, and it straightens everything out, and everything looks normal. So he has no clue he's doing that.
Yeah, that's it.
You want to get all your weight on the leg? Just give him feedback of where he's supposed to be, and then take your heel towards your butt. Good. There you go. Now pull up from right here. Get your weight on the front of your foot. Good. There you go. Okay. Take your weight just a hair to the front of your foot. Good. Right there. Okay, switch legs. Get all your weight on your left leg. All your weight there. Good. Take your, good. I'm going to give you feedback. Take your weight on the front of your foot. Good. Right there. Oh, too far. Right about. Good. Pull up. Pull your head up. Good. There you go. There. Almost. There you go. It's okay. And then I find that if I let him go and then touch him again, gives him a little bit of feedback. Hey, listen, you gotta take your head up really high to the ceiling. Your weight's on your heel, so you gotta fix it. It's okay, you're fine. You're fine. Pull up from right there. There, that's almost there, but you're a tad back, just a tad. Going to your left. There. Right there. That's better. It's okay. There you go. Gets all on your left foot. There. Good. It's okay. It's good. So you work on that for 10-15 minutes, and then it becomes really easy to do it. I can see when I don't work out with him and I let things go, you get symptoms. When I'm like, rah, and you work, things improve. So I think the thought out there is that things get worse, and there's like no stopping it, no holding it back. But in my work with Jim, that's not the case. So I don't know what that blood test really means. Oh, it's really high, it's always going to stay high, or do you know what I mean? Because most people don't do the stuff that he does. Oftentimes, somebody will get tested because they're having symptoms, and after they're tested, then it starts progressing rather quickly. I think it's because when the whole family knows what the symptoms are or what's coming, it's a balance issue. Oh, so this person's tripping, falling over, and it's a symptom. So they let it go, and then the body's not doing it. And then it gets worse. You're not using it. Your body, I don't know if you're aware, but I wasn't aware that as you get older or as you don't use certain muscles, your body literally carries that muscle away and goes, hey, you're not using it, let's conserve energy. It's very efficient at conserving. So I think what happens with Huntington's patients, as soon as people find out they have it, or it runs in the family, you see things go off, so you let it go. Well, don't let him off. He's got to sit down because he's going to fall. And slurred speech, don't make him talk clearly because this is part of the thing. And so you lose it, you use it less, so it gets worse. And then it gets worse, then you use it even less. And it's a thing like that. So I think that's why I've observed the body being you stimulate it and it's gonna respond. You don't stimulate it, it's not gonna do anything. So I think that's why Huntington's usually progresses quickly, because you're aware what the symptoms are. And I was too afraid to look at them, and I think that saved us. I'll show you. We're gonna do the mirror because it's pretty flat. So get your ankles on the wall. And so I make sure that his butt is up against the wall, his shoulders are up against the wall, and his head's there. And then here, I say that I give him feedback on to where I just keep track of where everything is, and then hold him in that place until his body knows what it feels like, because it's a sensation of where it's supposed to be. Stop here. If his posture's off, is to reach for the ceiling. Reach for the ceiling with both hands. Really hard. Stretch your fingers. Pull really hard. Up, really hard. Up. Okay, once he's at a comfortable place, now you just ask him to put your arms, just bring your arms down. Keep your posture and bring your arms down. Just slowly. And that tends to keep him at a better place. And of course you have to work on him a little bit more. So it's just this kind of stuff that takes a lot of patience. So you're for 20 minutes. You can get him straight. And then once you get him there, then he's got to at least feel it for 10 minutes at a good place so that his body gets recalibrated. But if you let it go, he really gets to about right here. This is what it looks like when we let it go for 3 weeks. If I'm upset with him and don't want to work with him because I feel he's not paying attention, he gets like this. And now he can't walk anywhere. So this is day and night. And you can get from being here to back over here again. Where most people think, okay, let's just let it go. Okay, he can't walk, put him in a chair, give him a cane, give him a whatever. But we can get it back to pretty close to normal. It changes from week to week because this constantly changes. So sometimes we'll work on his speech, on relaxing his jaw, massaging the jaw. Running is really important. If he doesn't run, his cognitive skills go down, his speech, his breathing. I probably think maybe his sleep. So we for sure try to run or do some vigorous exercise. We'll do the spin bike, we'll do walking. If his balance is really wacky, we'll do some more balancing things. We do weights. We do Pilates sometimes, yoga sometimes, Tai Chi. I think for me, sometimes I just need quiet time and I just need to be in the space and observe. And then I come up with, okay, we need to try this. we try? We try pretty much everything, but his running and his walking and balance stuff always has to be there.
Well, we massaged Jim's supplement programs for about 10 years, and I think we have it homed in to the specific supplements that serve him the most. And of course, on top of the list is actually methylated B12 shots, which he gets prescribed by the doctor in the clinic. B1, a special type of B1 called benefitamin, and all the other B vitamins, and a little extra on B5, B6. Because all B vitamins are unbelievably important for brain health and neuron functions. So, I think most people understand. And all the things that help the mitochondria, where you produce energy. For example, alpha-lipoic acid, resveratrol. Also amino acids, glutathione, N-acetylcarnitine, N-acetylcysteine. Some of these also, of course, help detoxification passageways. Niacinamide, he takes extra niacinamide. Again, it's a form of a B vitamin. It's a vasodilator to even further enhance circulation into the brain. There's a couple of things on and off. Sometimes he does very well on something called SAMI, depending on how much stress he's under, or a hormone called pregnenolone. So sometimes we shift it a little bit around, but the ones that are named, the basic vitamins that he's on. And when he doesn't take them, Monica tells me, because she's with him every day, that it does make a big difference. So, but I take my B vitamins, and they make a big difference in my life. So I think it's a very fundamental thing.
We did several body detox, and so what that entailed was doing blood work and then finding out what metals were in there, and then detoxing, and then testing again, and then detoxing, doing that a few times.
What metals was he high in?
I think you had mercury,
yeah.
lead.
Yeah, Nisha had a lot of mercury years ago, but I had the bad fillings, the amalgam films.
Mm-hmm. So we had those removed before we started the detox. And so we had that removed, and then we started the detox. And then after his body was clean, then I think we did 4 brain detoxes. And when those came back clear, then we quit doing that. But in the meantime, the B1 is really beneficial, the B12 shots, the oil, the fish oil. He started to crave sugar a little bit more. He never used to eat sugar, but his diet is more wholesome. There was no sugar in it. Fruits, vegetables, high protein, and that's something that we do have to stay on top of because of his movements. He uses a lot of calories, so I need to keep him fed more. If he doesn't run, if he doesn't do what he's supposed to do, he has a hard time swallowing vegetables because they kind of stick to him.
Just keep on
Yeah,
moving.
just push hard. Yes, push hard with your legs. Good, there you go. Push hard with your feet. Roll to your toes. Good. Roll through your toes. There you go. And then it improves for 10 minutes. You can get it to go pretty well. So I've noticed when he doesn't take a supplement or run or exercise vigorously and challenging, his mental capacity starts to not be as sharp. If you can run at 5 and it's easy, and you're thinking about the football game or whatever, if you're able to think about something other than running, it's not hard enough. It has to be hard enough where your focus has to be on what you're doing. It has to be challenging to get you in the moment, to get you to be in this moment right now. Otherwise, it's not the same thing. So it has to be difficult. Doable, but difficult. Pushing you to your edge, and usually the person that's working with you can tell what that edge is, because the person doing it always thinks it's the edge. And I think it's also a survival thing. Well, you want to do the least amount of work to get it there, but the person working with you will know that they can take you to that part. And it's hard on the caregiver to put you there, because you're fighting and you're like, no, and you're fine and it's okay. And so it's really important that the person afflicted with whatever has to work and be in that moment. Well, because it's also a little bit, so it's hard to run on the track during the school year because the kids are on the track.
Thank you, Jill. There you go.
That was amazing.
So I wanna thank James and especially Monica, because I wanna say that Monica is my hero. Okay, because I know what it takes, you know, to take care of Jim. And you know, Jim, I wanna thank you for being such a good client and following all the instructions and keeping yourself in shape. All right.
Thanks.
I know what it takes to be a caretaker, because I also take care of Monica, and you know, she's my hero.
Oh, thank
Okay. She's my hero.
Thank you.
She's mine too, for sure.
So I want to thank you for doing this, and we hope
Thank you
that
for
it
your help
helps.
too, Feline. Yeah, you definitely have saved me too.
Yeah, absolutely. We're planning to keep saving them, right?
Yes.
And
Yes.
staying in shape. And so we really want to help other people to get some ideas on how they can help somebody with Huntington's chorea. So thank you
Thank you.
for sharing this.
Thank you.